talking about some baits that I just got in the mail, and talk about a little bit about what I had left over from last season and what I'm going to be using this season. And if you've watched my videos previously, you know that I change things up quite a bit. There's a few baits that I stick with year after year because I just think they're so good. And when I look at all my numbers and spreadsheets and everything at the end of the year, there's always a couple that stick out year after year after year after year. So I continue to use those, but I really like to mix things up. So if I'm on a property, I like to use different baits the following year if I'm on that same property that next year and things like that. So let's talk a little bit about some of the baits that I had left over from last year, and what I'm gonna also got this year so I can continue to use those. So first off, I didn't really buy any lures this year. I had quite a bit of stuff left over from last year. I'll do a whole nother video about that. So I didn't buy any lures at all. So all I bought was basically baits. I mean, I didn't buy any other things from any trapping supply places this year to get started when the season starts here in another couple months. I didn't buy anything other than bait, just because I had everything else I needed. I didn't need any other supplies of any kind. I had some wax and other things left over from last year, so I didn't really need anything. So what did I have left over from last year? Last year I tried this Kellen's Red Label Predator Bait. I tried a couple of Kellen's product last year from Katz Brothers, and it was pretty good. Wasn't bad, wasn't good, kind of probably somewhere in the middle. I would give it probably a B if I was going to grade it on a A to F, a letter grade scale. I would give it probably a B. But I hadn't really used it before, and I have about half of it left. So really I didn't get that much of an opportunity to test it. I started using this kind of late in the season, and then I just kind of, kept it obviously over the year. It'll still be good this year, so I'm going to get started. These other things I had left over from last year, I hadn't even opened them. I have another container of Hiawatha Valley from Cave-Ins, one of my go-tos. Love this lure, or bait I should say. Produces year after year after year after year. Really, no matter where I go, no matter if it's fields, edges, wherever I'm at, this seems to work. I have a container of Gravedigger, which was from Western Cats. I've never used this before, and I didn't get to use it this last year, so I have no idea if it's good or not, but we're gonna try it. And then I have one from Mark Steck, Dakota Line Predator 61 Predator Bait. Never used it before, and as you can see, it still has the tape around it, so I'm gonna use it this year too. What are some of the things that I purchased this year to go with this? Because that's obviously not gonna be enough bait. I purchased some Soul Taker from Dunlap's. I used this for the first time last year. I really liked it during cold weather because it's got that skunk in there. And so it's a really good cold weather bait. I thought I had pretty good success with it. Only used one container of it. So I wanted to get another container and try it again, but I liked it last year. Of course, I have another container of Hiawatha Valley because that's kind of like my gold standard. I have some Top Dog Predator Bait here. I've used this really the last couple seasons. I really like it. I think it works pretty good. I like it especially early in the year when it's not quite as cold, although it still works when it's cold, but it works pretty good I think it works better when it's not so cold. It's not quite as strong as some of the other ones. They have a Top Dog Arctic, which has got like some skunk essence mixed in, but I didn't get that because I was already going to get the Soul Taker. And I really like the way this performs in kind of the way that it does just naturally without the skunk essence in there. So Top Dog. And then I got a couple of Clint Locklear's baits, Federales. Last year was the first year that I used it, and I really like it. It's different, and again, I like having different things. It's got like this smoky kind of flavor to it, almost like a barbecue or something. So it's really good when you can have something like this, and then you have something like a Soul Taker, and then you have like a Hoosier Trapper Supply Top Dog, which is, a Bobcat based, and then you have Cave-Ins, which I think is like I think it's mice based if I remember right. And then lastly, I tried another locklear bait, and this is gator bait, and I've never used it before, but again, I wanted something completely different. So in the baits that I got this year, I've got Soul Taker, which I'm not sure if, I think it's a muskrat based if I remember right. So I have that, I have gator bait, I have Federales, I have Hoosier Trapper Supply, which is bobcat based, and then Cavens, which is more of a mice based if I remember right. So I got basically different baits with different kinds of ingredients in them, different kind of main bases, because I really want to mix things up, right? I don't want to have, even if you have 5 different bobcat based baits and have different other ingredients in them, they're all going to be a little bit different. But I think it works really well when you have completely different things, like a muskrat with a skunk in it. And then over here you have a bobcat one that's a little bit more mild. And over here you have one that's like the Federales, really smoky. And then you have a mice-based bait like a Hiawatha Valley or all this other stuff. And gator bait, which, I mean, it's going to be completely different than everything else I have. So I think it's good to have different kinds of baits with different kinds of smells that you can put and give different things, so that they're not smelling the same thing year after year after year and getting used to the same kind of baits. And even though I use Hiawatha Valley year after year, because, honestly, over however many years I've been using it, a long time, it just produces all the time. So I just keep going back to it, right? Any of these others, I like to mix and match. And you'll see others that you really like that'll stick out a little bit better than most. And then you can keep using those as like a good foundation of these 2 or 3 baits that work year after year. And then you can mix and match the others, give them something different all the time. I mean, I've used O'Gorman's, I've used RK Predator Plus. I mean, I've used a lot of different baits. I don't know that I've ever used really any bait that's bad. Some of them are just, a little bit better than others. When you look at them year after year after year. And just like I told earlier when I said Soul Taker did really well for me last year overall, that was one season. I'm going to have to see how it does this season, and then maybe I try it again next season. And if I start seeing it consistently working really, really well or better than others over, 4 or 5 years, then you really have something. That's how I know I have something with Hiawatha Valley, because, I've been using that thing for, I don't even know, 10 years, 12 years. How long has it even been around? I don't know. However it's been around, I've been using it for a long time. So so that's kind of the baits that I'm going to use this year. I'll do a different video with some like lures and other stuff in it, I think probably. And then I'm also going to do an upcoming video because I had a couple people ask about exactly what I keep on my spreadsheet. So I'm going to do a detailed video about that. But this is kind of just some bait stuff. Thought you guys would find it interesting. I always find it interesting to see what other people are using, how they're using it. And I'm pretty excited to get the trapping season going. Most of my traps are waxed and dyed and ready to go. I have about 20 that I had left over from last year that I didn't get done. I just was busy and just didn't get around to it. So I'm going to crank those out in the next couple weeks. I'll probably do a little video about that. And then I'm pretty much ready. I'm just ready for the season to open. So, all right, be careful out there, and we'll talk to you soon.